Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruthie. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Mother, 1946, Part 20. On USO Stationery. 28 Water Street, St. Augustine, Florida, October 10th, 1946. My dearest mother, hello, and how's the best mother a person could have? How are you doing, honey? Honestly, dear, it was so swell to get your letter yesterday. I'd really been looking for it. You know that song? Every letter that you send me I read a dozen times or more. Any wonder that I love you more and more? Well, Mommy, I do. Every little thing you write about is so important now that I'm so far away, and I do love you, honey. It just doesn't seem fair, square, or in the cards that you should have to go to a show by yourself. Wish I could be with you then. When I was home, it seems you were well squired. I hope you get over your cold okay. Marion's seems to be improving, although she still has a cough. I'll try to remember to put in the butter coupons. Oh, your letter arrived at St. Augustine unsealed, and they sealed it officially. Better watch that. Yes, dear, I really could do with some soap flakes and bar soap if you can get any yourself. Marion thinks she'll need hers herself, and this powder here is terrible. You could make it a gift? Also, we have our sugar ration cards, but there just isn't sugar to be had in St. Augustine. I haven't had any except in cafes since arriving. It's okay, though. I use honey in my coffee and chocolate syrup in my cereal. Our grocery bill is twice as high as last year. Oh, Saskatoon is sure a good place to live as far as cost of living goes. This is really quite an experience for us. Honestly, I know I've said it before many times, but I can't begin to express how lucky I am. I really was happier in Saskatoon, I believe, but I feel so much older just for having a bit more command on things. I do love my kitties here, Mother, and in spite of how at first I thought they were more spoiled than our Saskatoon babies, they are really just as much babies as any. I feel sorry for anyone who doesn't have contact with children. I hope you give your children a party. I'm afraid I'm guilty of making mine work harder than they ever have before. I've always thought I was a fairly easy teacher, but I believe kiddies are happier in school working and feeling as if they're accomplishing something than playing around. At least that was how I felt. It was funny, here the teachers are always taking the children for walks or visits to other classrooms. Unnecessarily, I think. The second day, my kiddies announced that tomorrow we would go to the store. I said no, and it hasn't come up again, and they aren't dying yet. Heavens, 8 o'clock till 12:50 minus 15 minutes, 4 hours and 35 minutes isn't enough to accomplish anything. We have to put in 2 hours in the afternoon, one afternoon a week some way, so I'm teaching art to 2 classes in the other building. They have a special man teacher, just for art though already. One of the teachers drove me home today as I stayed later to write 10 letters to the children's parents. She was saying how the other teachers thought I worked too hard. I said that in Saskatoon I was considered a lax teacher. She said, "Heavens, I'd hate to see them." Our hurricane didn't hit here, but missed by 29 miles. We had a terrific wind and rainstorm, though, and the electricity was off for a while. Although the public schools remained closed, we went on as usual. Except for the leaves and branches off the palm trees, all is okay. Although I guess the citrus fruit crop was badly hit. Tell me, did you hear anything about it? I'm glad Winnie got away to varsity. I think it's swell she can make it. Anything's possible if you want it badly enough, right? Already I regret not keeping up with some of my classes, although just a year ago, by my diary, I was at home with the flu. I've just got to stay well. Touch wood. Yes, dear, a lot of things like you hearing the piece Atlanta, Georgia mean more to me now, too. The water is looking very peaceful again. It's like seeing a movie, watching the change in the water. It's not the Atlantic Ocean, but the Malanzas River. I'll enclose a map and another ordinary letter by which you can see the relative distance. Since the hurricane, the nights have been clear and the moon very full, which makes it like day out, and the palm trees against the sky and water, well, it's really a beautiful sight. Everyone takes it for granted, but here am I catching my breath at the beauty of it. How do you like my stationery? Fancy, eh? The sailor got it for me. We were at the USO dancing and playing some records, and I wanted one sheet for a souvenir, so he got me a mighty stack, so I thought I'd use it. Incidentally, he got his phone calls through and came out to St. Augustine the next night. After the USO, we went to a Dixie bar and danced. It's quite a large place. The next evening, I was so surprised when he phoned that he was in town again. He was supposed to be on duty, but bribed a fellow to stay on the ship for him. Marion's sailor was also in, so the four of us went dancing at Dixie's bar again. We always go to tables, and is it ever awful to see women sitting at bars? In spite of what I thought before, I think restrictions, as in Canada, are the best idea. The part is here you can't go any place dancing, not a bar, so there's not much you can do about it. Are guys ever dumb? He asked me to marry him. If I were a fellow, I'd sure want to know more about a girl. I guess that's why there's so much divorce. Yes, honey, we cook all our meals here now. It's too expensive to eat out. The cheapest meal, spaghetti, is 80 cents anywhere, and others run an average of $1.50 and $1.75 in just an ordinary restaurant. So you see, we can't eat at school. Although today my kiddies wanted to get my purse for me to go home at noon, and I explained I was staying to write letters to their mothers. They asked if I wasn't going home to eat. I said no, so they thought I should go to eat with them, and oh, it was so good, and it was all right if I stayed. Darlings, I'm perfectly happy if I never see any other teachers. I don't mind, although they're always coming in. I guess that's why I like teaching. I'm happier with children than grown-ups. What did Grandma mean? Do you ever think you'll see her again? Does she think I'm a lost chick already? Boy, I'm coming home, honey. I hope. What did she mean in her first letter about the accident or funeral in Estevan? What was it? I appreciate the papers, honey, but send them home next to school, okay? We're missing a radio, so must get one soon. Oh, the gas is in the kitchen about half a block from our suite. There's a hall, dining room, luncheon room between the stove and us, so okay with 4 doors between. I'm glad Bud likes my letters. I enjoy his notes, but I want some explanations, long and detailed explanations on these ideas of his. Then I can write about 20 pages disproving them, because I'd like to nip in the bud some of what I think they might be. I hope not, but I do want explanations. Whatever they are, Bud, don't say finally this is what I believe, because I know how you can have ideas in grade 12 that later you discover weren't so important after all. And am I ever learning something new every day? Quite an accomplishment for someone who knew it all. Honestly, Bud, I've met quite a few fellows, and even though you're younger, I believe you have what it takes to develop into a pretty swell guy. But the catch there is the developing. Be sure everything you do is worthwhile, and I believe if you get the right foundation, everything falls into place. Every person gets a slant on life, mostly through environment. Then there's a few years when you have to straighten things out for yourself, and no one else can do it for you. That's the time to watch others and see who you think has a clue on life. Believe it or not, you can learn a lot from Mother. You'll be okay, kid. I love you, but explain to me your latest theories. I'd hate you to lose a step now. From what I've seen, I think Canadians, both men and women, have more to them than Americans. To do in Canada, you really have to be something. Here, there's a lot of bluffing. From the brief conversations with Dr. Settles, he's really a capitalist. Nothing good about Russia. As a matter of fact, his ideas are so colored, you'd think they were beasts ready to occupy the United States. We just said, "Oh, yes." Gee, I just opened the desk drawer, and a huge cockroach flew out. I can't get used to them. It's no reflection on the home. It's all the city, and it's the climate that causes so many, I guess. They're huge, too. I've seen them 2 inches long, and they fly, too. The ants are terrific, too. All the food is covered with them. On the street, grasshoppers are big fat things about 3 inches long, and at first I'd have nightmares night after night, seeing these fat, squashy grasshoppers and cockroaches. Everyone has warned me never to kill one, because it makes you sick to your stomach then. The other day I pulled up the blind to find a blue jay sitting on the windowsill. Was it ever lovely? My first. In the trees outside my classroom windows are flying squirrels, which delight the kiddies. Some people are planting gardens again here, which is new to me. Note my tendency to exaggerate already. Typically American, what? Well, darling, I go on and don't say much. It would be so nice to talk to you, but I will be. Take care of yourself, honey. I'm so glad that I spent quite a bit of time with you this summer. Good night, dearest. Love, Ruth. P.S. Killed the darn old cockroach. 28 Water Street, St. Augustine, Florida, October 3rd, 1946. Editor's note. Out of order again. My dear sweet mother, what a lovely surprise, your letter. I just got it, and like the one I sent you, it only took 2 days. From 5 p.m. October 1st until 4:30 mail delivery today. Good, eh? I had a letter yesterday which had taken longer because it was missent to St. Petersburg by the postal authorities. Well, sweetheart, it was a lovely letter and so nice to have a whiff of Saskatchewan and home and Mommy brought in. I was sorry to hear about Hattie, but she'd had so much trouble. She was such a sweet soul. Thanks for the information about the van workers. I doubt if I'll be able to ignore it. Marion says, here we go again. She blames herself for my attitude about it before. She thinks that if she'd not crossed me about it, I wouldn't have tried to antagonize Don as retaliation. Oh well. Honey, thanks for the $1, although I didn't expect it. It certainly came in handy. Thank Bud. It was like manna from heaven. I'm trying to save my traveler's checks and hope I can get by without cashing them all. We had a pretty terrific experience here which made us realize how much can happen and go wrong. And so far in life we've been so lucky compared to lots of people. They have gas stoves here and Marion lit a match to try to light the oven. Something got touched off and sort of exploded. It blew me across the room, and I guess I'm not such a calm person because I came to screaming and couldn't open one eye. I put my hand to my head and discovered my hair was singed off my right temple and some of my front curls. My eyelashes are minus and one eyebrow is missing. Marion isn't quite as bad. I didn't get over it for about an hour. Nothing else happened in the kitchen, though, so we were very lucky. I won't even go near the stove. Don't worry, we're okay now, but what an experience. Honestly, what people must have been through during the war. I'm afraid I would be a terrible coward. It was so interesting to hear about Freddie's wife and Isabel Walker. She's either a few months older or younger than I, about 21 anyway. She was going to varsity. Education for marriage, eh? I don't know about piano lessons, but I do enjoy trying out the music. Wish that I had the few pieces I copied out at school last year that I knew how to play. I wish I knew if I left them at school or not. It's a lovely grand piano. Tomorrow evening, Mrs. Averill has planned a dinner party to which we're invited, so that's sort of nice. She's a very nice, well-educated woman, principal of a public school here. Her husband has been dead since 1937. She's one of the important people in town. I'm really trying to get interested in my class, and soon as I either get my sights lowered a little and don't expect so much of them, or either they hurry up a bit, we'll get along fine. It's better circumstances for work since Marion is in another building, about a block across the campus. I'm in Bloxham Cottage. She's in Walker Hall. Today she brought all her class over, but that can't go on. The classrooms are so low that you practically step out the window. Outside mine are usually a couple of Negroes sitting, leaning against a tree. Quite picturesque, but not in accordance with teaching to my mind. There's an old fellow, a Negro, who does odd jobs for me. It seems funny to me. The kiddies are not as naive, sweet, or appreciative as the Saskatoon babies, but they are nice children. I have 2 Donalds, a Judy, Lois, Edna, May, Laura, Sam, Earl, a darling, Willie, and Phyllis. I guess it takes time to really get attached to any, though, but I miss Eric and Joe and Donald. Honestly, dear, am I ever sorry about you being sick. Do take care of yourself. Maybe you should come down here and miss the cold winter. I'd love you to see Florida. And Bud, as for staying, I really don't know if I will stay after this year or not. It's hard to say. It's too bad the living is so high. I could have told Pop about the income tax since I did that too. Anyway, it's one way of saving money. Marion and I were thinking that one stiff doctor bill would just about wash us up financially, so we'll have to try to find a cheaper place to live, lovely as it is here. Yes, I saw Coney Island. Oh, do you remember about a year ago this time I was home with the flu, remember? We actually got 2 steaks today, and did they ever taste good? 56 cents. One woman got 4 large steaks, $2.98. Remember those white sandals and black sandal shoes I didn't think I'd ever wear? They're quite okay here. That's a pretty terrific blow to Mrs. Migdal, although here the deaf children have such good opportunities. The older ones are marvelous lip readers, and have good jobs. So far I haven't come in contact with the blind much. I get a ride to school, in my room, and a ride home, see? Zoe, the primary supervising teacher, and her roommate had us over for supper night before last. Really nice. And after, the sailors took us out to the Dutch Tavern, dancing again. I'm still getting mail from the sailor in Fort Lauderdale, only he's being posted elsewhere. I'm not crazy about Americans so far. Gee, does my hair ever feel funny where it's singed? My kitties noticed it. I must have gained a lot of weight since last year. At least my double chin's taken on some. One little boy, when I was teaching him to speak, I discovered instead of feeling the vibration in my throat, he had a handful of chin and holding on for dear life. Ah, me. No, I'm learning more about teaching here than any course I could take. Oh, mosquito bites are clearing up okay. Thanks for the advice, though. Sometimes if they get infected and don't clear up, the people call them Florida sores, typical to the climate. The insects are terrific. The ants and cockroaches almost impossible to keep under control. The cockroaches are about an inch long. Horrible things. Are these butter coupons? Are they any good? Marion got a new book before she left, so is letting her mother have it. Shh. We'll let you have the butter if you tell us the color and number they are, okay? I think Mrs. Stewart will send us the coupons. Marion has written and asked her. Well, little honey, I do want you to take care of yourself. That's the only thing that matters. I love you so much, honestly do I ever. I miss the Canadian mommy of mine. Love, Ruthie. P.S. Buckle down, bud. Now's the time you start making your own life the way you want it. Love you, kid. Ruth. Marion bought enough soap and flakes for Marion, and I can't buy any. Darn. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care. And I'll see you next time.